First, tell me about the abandoned mine. It's an old tin mine, worked and abandoned by the Brigantes. It's due west of the fort. Walk west and you will find the remains of an old stone road. Follow it west and you will find a mine entrance. The courier satchel is, we are confident, somewhere in that mine. How did the satchel end up in the mine? Good question, actually. Really? What was a courier doing in a mine, for whatever reason? One of our centurions was carrying it. He was, well, he ended up inside the mine. Strange. You're sure there's something he's trying hard not to tell you? You don't say. He never came out again. The satchel is still inside, probably on his body. There is a long pause while Vibius decides how to phrase the next part. Be well prepared before you go into the mine. We expect you may find some armed opposition. What sort of opposition? He shrugs. Opposition. Armed. They're not overpowering. You should have little trouble dealing with them. Return the satchel when you find it. I have little more to say at this point. That's all for now, thanks. Because that is all for now. We can't ask him anything else. So, we have our first task. We have to go to a mine and recover a courier satchel, which somehow managed to get into a mine. We don't yet know how. Let's have a look at the world map then. This is this is Shadowvale in its entirety. On the map here we can see. This is the entire game world. We are here at Shadow Valley Fort, which you can see down on the bottom right. The old mine we're going to is over here, just off to the west. So that's our first destination by the looks of things. Now, let's have a look at our inventories before we set out. Doing okay there. Ah, boots. You can wear those boots, as opposed to just carrying them around. That would be silly. How are we doing for weapons? We're doing okay, I suppose. Rictus has got his superior longsword. You know what, I think we will pay a visit to the quartermaster just before we leave. I would like to see your weapons and armour. Right, so we can buy a bunch of stuff from him. In fact, if we switch to Kikonius here, because he's got barter skill, we should get better prices in theory. Although the prices here are apparently very reasonable, probably because we're in the Roman army and such, and he's our quartermaster. The first thing we're going to do, though, is we're going to buy another iron longsword. In fact, yes, we're going to have that iron longsword, and we're going to buy. We've got 51 gold left, and we're going to buy this here iron spear. That's going to be for Scribius. We've got 27 gold left, and that'll do us just fine for now. So let's have a look. The iron longsword we can give to Kikonius. Now, you might think that's a bit dumb, considering he's going to be our kind of quote-unquote non-combatant, but trust me, there are going to be times when he is going to be having to fight for his life, and when that happens, I'd rather he was equipped with something a little bit better than a shit short sword. Scribius, however, he's going to have this spear, because spears are what he does best, by a long shot. Numius, he's got plenty of javelins to be going on with, so we're not going to give the sword to him. He's going to be sat at the back, just throwing his javelins around, and generally speaking, getting out of combat, well, close combat as well. Okay, so, as you leave Shadow Valley Fort to begin your first mission, you feel the guards' eyes upon you, silently tracking you as you walk towards the gates. You lock eyes with them briefly, and see mute distrust, tinged with a tiny bit of hope. That's a very specific thing to see in someone's eyes. I don't really... never mind. Let's just go. So we're going to leave the fort, and now we're going to go to another view, another sort of game mode, if you like, which is when we're outdoors. As you can see here, we've got a little party of dudes down here. Over here, we've got a troop of Roman soldiers that are probably just sort of going around and patrolling. If we click this button here, wait a turn, you will see them start moving off. There's another group of them down here. Now this, if we go up this way, You stand at the east end of a ruined, crumbling road. The sections that are still intact are made of carefully cut slabs of grey stone, carefully fitted together. This is very peculiar. All of the roads on Britannia of this quality should have been made by the Romans. However, this road is far too old to have been made by them. You wonder where it came from. I'll write that down. Shadowvale is not living up to its name. So far, everywhere you've been on this isle has been cold, murky, foggy, muddy, or wet. Sounds a lot like England to me, anyway. Shadowvale, on the other hand, is nothing but lovely and pleasant. The sun is bright and shining, it's warm, and there's not a cloud in the sky. Bright birds soar overhead? Why did I say that? Overhead. And your noses are overwhelmed by the scent of wildflowers and leafy trees. The light almost makes things seem to sparkle. Yet, while this area is both beautiful and relaxing, something seems wrong about it. Somehow, the outdoors here seems more like a painting than reality. You almost suspect that if you extended your finger and scratched the air, you would scrape aside the glowing patina and reveal rain underneath. The feeling only lasts for a moment, though. Soon the beauty of your surroundings reasserts itself. You continue to march west, resigned, willing or not, to enjoy this lovely day. More just sort of general description of our surroundings, stuff like that. You do encounter bits like that quite often in this game, where the game will kind of make up for its rather basic graphics by explaining to you exactly what it is you are seeing. And I kind of like it, actually. It reminds me of those old sort of choose your own adventure books I used to read quite a lot when I was younger. So, yeah. So we're wandering along out here. This is the external kind of, as I said, the outdoors view, if you like. There's not really a lot here to see. You do occasionally meet wandering animals like wolves and stuff, though, while you're out here, so as long as you keep an eye out for them. This over here is the old mine. You are near the entrance to an abandoned mine. Britannia has many mines which produce lead, tin, and other valuable metals for trade with the Roman Empire. This mine, however, is out of business. The ground nearby is littered with rusty tools, broken pick handles, and piles of dirt, stones, and ore. The remnants of the operation are dusty and overgrown. Nobody has worked here for years. However, there is evidence that while the mine is unused, it clearly isn't unoccupied. Scattered amongst the old equipment and are piles of much newer leavings, bones, scraps of fur, and piles of droppings. You also find the tracks of I'm totally losing it at the minute, aren't I? Not special, but several pairs of feet, all of them human and wearing heavy boots. You examine them carefully and guess that some Roman soldiers came here recently. The entrance to the mine is dark and quiet. If anything is living there, they're a good distance inside. The only way to find out for sure who's here is to walk in. So that, without further ado, is what we're going to do.